For many Nigerians, Wednesday was another difficult day. At exactly 11:23 a.m. yesterday, the national grid collapsed again, plunging homes, schools, hospitals, and businesses into darkness. Now, from Abuja to other parts of the country, people suddenly found themselves scrabbling for alternatives, turning on generators, rushing to buy fuel, or simply waiting helplessly in the heat. And the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company confirmed the collapse in a public notice, blaming a loss of supply from the national grid. They assured citizens that efforts were underway to restore power. But for millions, this was all too familiar. In 2024 alone, the grid collapsed 12 times, and in the past decade, over 100 times. Each time, families are left in discomfort, small businesses count their losses, and essential services are disrupted. The cost is huge. Now, economists estimate that every collapse drains Nigeria of billions of naira each day in lost productivity, damaged appliances, and higher operating costs for businesses that depend on reliable power. And beyond the numbers is the human cost that stinks. Students unable to study, traders losing perishable goods, and patients in hospitals waiting for generators to kick in. And yet, in its July 2025 report, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission insists there were no grid disturbance in the first quarter of the year. But Nigerians living through these blackouts tell a very different story. So this morning we want to hear from you. How has this latest collapse affected your life, your home, your work, your businesses? What did you have to give up or sacrifice when the lights went out again? It's time for you to call us this morning. The numbers are displayed on your screen. You can also send us a WhatsApp message and share your thoughts. How was it for you yesterday when you heard the news that the national grid has collapsed once again? How did this affect you, your business, and any other and every other thing? Please do well to call us in this morning and share your thoughts. Hauwa, when you heard the news yesterday as to the collapse of the national grid, what came to your mind? I know you say not again.
Absolutely. I was like, not again. And, for them to say that all through the first quarter of this year that the national grid has not collapsed, that's quite courageous, I would say.
Really courageous.
We've seen a lot of, disturbances even if, the national grid did not collapse. There's been a lot of disturbances when it comes to, the electricity supply here in Nigeria. Just, not quite long ago, the Northeast suffered a lot when it comes to, the lack of electricity. I think they went up to more than 2 weeks without electricity, and afterwards it was, fixed, and they had some electricity supply. But it affects a lot of people when it comes to it. At the end of the day, we now depend on electricity.
Absolutely. We have Shetima on the line.
We have our
Hello.
first caller.
Good morning, Shetima. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Maimuna. Good morning, Hauwa. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Trust TV. This is Shetima Yakudima calling from Maiduguri.
Good morning, Shetima. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Well, about the Greek collapse. So, it's not something that you will be surprised. As you rightly said on your remark, it have collapsed for 12 times in 2024, which is very, very unfortunate. A country like Nigeria, with all the wealth that we have, still electricity supply is becoming a problem. It's very, very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. We can make it if at all our governors they will be committed to make their own power plant. As here in Borno State and Maiduguri, we are lucky. All these collapses that we are just hearing over the news, because we have alternative. We have gas plants, which we also tasked to the past government for this gesture to us. We are really enjoying it. But I am calling the executive governors. They should do all what is reasonable and necessary to make sure that they build their own power supply. That is the only way we can fish ourselves out of this menace. Because if we continue relying on the grid, you see all our businesses are collapsing. All PT business now, it is a debt. It is nothing to show about. And that's what creates idleness. And idleness is a workshop, is a devil workshop. That's why we have a lot of insecurity. So we have to wake up. We are in 21st century, for God's sake. To say power supplies have become a problem in a country like Nigeria? No. It's a shame. It's a shame, honestly speaking. It's a shame. It's a shame. So our political office holders, they should type off their dam. They should they should be committed and dedicated to bring with substitute alternative. Because big grid, you see now we are in rainy season. That's the time that we are enjoying it much. That is the time that we are enjoying much. I think the problem that we are having is lack of maintenance. I think that's the problem. They cannot focus their attention until when he was collapsed. So that this attitude will not help us. We don't help us. Power has become essential ingredient. If a country can develop, no country can can see the light of development without power and security and agriculture. All these sectors have been neglected by Nigerian government. It is very, very unfortunate. We have to wake up. May Allah help us to revive our country. May Allah help us to Nigeria to return to better. Thank you so much and have a nice day.
All right, thank you very much, Tima, for that. Maimuna, I wanted to give a little bit of statistics with the declaration that by the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission saying that in the first quarter of 2025 there was no grid collapse. Well, according to reports on February 12th, 2025, a grid disturbance was reported. And after that, March 7th, 2025, and then now September 10th, 2025. And then for them to say that there was no grid collapse when it comes to it, the focus, I believe, should be in, constant supply of electricity. But then let's take
we have another caller on the line. Hello, good morning. Thank you for calling in. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Well, very well, thank you. Please kindly go ahead.
Okay, my name is Peter. I'm calling for Abuja.
Good morning, Peter. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm watching you live. The national grid collapse is really embarrassing. I cannot even remember how many times the grid collapsed this year. So many times, and now we are being told from 13,000 something megawatts is down to 1,300 and something megawatts, which is a real disaster. Imagine a country like Ethiopia, which in the recent past, a desolate country lacking mineral resources and so on and so forth. Today is floating the best airline in Africa, and then they just commissioned a dam, hydroelectric, the largest in Africa, hydroelectric power project on the River Nile, despite stiff resistance from Egypt, worth 4.something billion naira. And with that, with the discipline Ethiopia has exhibited by running Ethiopia Air, you can see that I can say with confidence that the issue of power in Ethiopia is resolved, except if another government messes up later. Otherwise, they have resolved issues of electricity conclusively. And that's what we should do in Nigeria. We have a lot of resources. Here, we are not even fighting with anybody over bodies of water. Mambila Hydroelectric, Kainji, Shiroro, all these things we have. What is our problem in Nigeria? I think we need to think back. It's really a shame. It's a great food for thought that Ethiopia today is doing what it's doing and we cannot. Is it lack of money or lack of know-how? I don't think so. But maybe I will just say it is the issue of bad governance and lack of focus. Because at times we like to be politically correct by saying that God will see us through. God will never see us through. Prayer will not solve your problem when God has given you all the tools to work and resolve your problem. God will not come down from heaven to solve any problem. And I think it's really sad, very, very sad. I run a pharmacy now. It rained very heavily in Abuja. All night we were on solar. Now I'm still on solar. And if the sun doesn't come out today, I don't know, later on maybe the battery will run down. And then we will start suffering. Because I don't like to run generator for obvious reasons. The noise, the pollution and all the wahala. So I thank you for giving me the opportunity to voice out my concerns. Have a blessed day.
All right, thank you very much for that contribution, Maimuna.
You know, when you, thank you so much for calling in. So, according to reports, the national grid has collapsed full or partially approximately 12 times.
In 2024?
In 2024, yes. And then the question is, from 2024 down till 2025, is it that, you know, the issues
couldn't figure out what the issue
exactly
was and rectify
they could not be able to figure out what exactly the issue is. And you know, I remembered when the Minister of Power had an interview, I think early this year, talking about the national grid. He stated that you know, the supply demand is imbalanced, and you know, as of that result, it is low when it comes to generating power. But then I ask again, is it that there is no, you know, proper measures that they could take to stop the national grid from collapsing? And business constantly, and business owners are not finding it funny
when it comes to it. All right,
absolutely.
Let us take our next caller.
We have another caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning. My name is Clement.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm calling from Ikorekone.
All right, go ahead with your thoughts.
Okay. And this issue of national grid collapsing always. I thought the federal passed a law that every state should have to generate its own power. What are the state governments doing after?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought that the federal government, the law was passed, the act was passed that every state should generate its power. So what are the state government doing about this?
Well, some states are trying to, you know, do that, just like Maiduguri. They have an alternative, but other states are still yet to go ahead and aid their states when it comes to electricity supply.
Yeah. So what are the state government doing about it? Because this 2020 of based on your analysis, this thing has collapsed 12 times. So are we going to be living our lives like this? Because of light is power. Hello?
Yes, true. Go ahead. So what are your experiences when it comes to this electricity collapse, at this grid collapse at this particular moment?
I stayed in Abuja, but I'm in Ikorekone now. But for the past how many days, like that, it's so terrible in this place. You can't charge, you can't do anything. And business has been going down. If you go to a place to charge, they will tell you, okay, because of they are charging you based on the source they use. It's NEPA, they will tell you this is a tax NEPA. Then they will say, can you imagine? That's been terrible. You know, like the device shortage that we can't do this. A lot of challenges. And we are in the 21st century. Light is one of the essential things human needs. So I don't know.
All right. Thank you very much for that, for your contribution and your thoughts. All right. When it comes to your electricity supply, it is quite vital due to the fact that we've become dependent on it, as I earlier mentioned, when it comes to, you know, everything down to our phones, down to every appliance in our houses, and when it comes to hospitals, when it comes to businesses as well. But then let us take our next caller. Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining us. And where are you calling from? What's your
Hello,
name
good
and where you calling
morning.
from? Good
I'm
morning.
Maimuna Said from Kaduna.
Good
morning.
Maimuna. Thank you for joining us. So what is your take
Yeah.
on this electricity, or should I say grid collapse?
On the issue of national grid collapse, I don't think there's much difference between what we are experiencing before the grid collapse. Because the truth is that the system as a whole that has to do with power has collapsed. Before now, there have not been light. All through, if you have no solar to power your house, you stay in darkness. Like where I stay, sometimes the only time we have light is 12 midnight. They give you for 2 hours and it's off. So I don't see the big collapse. It's just because it's a national issue now that we are talking about it. But the truth is the system as a whole has collapsed. And I don't think the government has any answer to it. For the fact that they even have they all had that intention or have gone for what do you call it, solar in the presidency. If the government should think of that, we should know that we are left to ourselves. We don't have a government that cares for the masses. We don't have a government that is focused. The government is not focused enough to know what to do. We have enough to generate power for us, but they ignore it. There's nothing. They are not doing anything. I don't know where we are heading to in Nigeria, because there's nothing that is working. The entire sector in Nigeria, if we have to be truthful to ourselves, there's no sector in Nigeria that is working presently. But we have a government of propaganda that will tell you that everything is fine. Security is 100%, power is 100%. There's no more hunger in Nigeria. We have a president that went to Brazil to tell the world that everything is okay in Nigeria when we are here dying. Government should come out and do something for the masses. The propaganda is just too much. And if we continue like this grid collapse that we are talking of, I'm sure we are coming to a time that we are going into total darkness and there will be no answer to it except God. And just like the last caller said, we are fond of saying God. God has given us all we need to use. It's left for us to use. It's no longer the issue of God. God will not come down to do the work for us. It's unfortunate. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
All right, thank you very much, Amina, for calling in.
You know, when we talk about, the incessant grid collapse, it's really alarming because it has its own effect, especially when it comes to, business establishment in a country. Because, I mean, no one would, leave to come to Nigeria to want to invest when there's no power to help, during their businesses. And it is so sad because we don't even know when next the grid will collapse again. I mean, yesterday was, everybody left to their homes.
Takes you unexpectedly.
Absolutely. And then, maybe you're in the middle of something very important for those that are into, skills and all of that. And then the next thing you hear is that the grid has collapsed. I mean, it is not, a good news. I think we have another caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining us. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning. My name is Olubin Tafale. I'm calling from Kayeti, Oyo State.
All right, thank you for joining us. So, what are your thoughts on, the grid collapse?
First of all, I align with what Mr. Setima said. And I totally agree with him. But having said that, I would like the people to know that sometimes I'm always a critic. What is the effort of the state government concerning the power supply in Nigeria? What are they doing? I think there was a time the Lagos state government got permission to build the power stations, and the federal government granted them the privilege of doing that. But now that these state governments are getting more money, what are they doing? Must everybody be blaming the federal government? The state governments are not doing anything. They are not doing anything with their allocation. Instead, they are embarking on elephant projects where that cannot bring impact to the people. So the state government should wake up and build their own power stations, generate their own electricity. The federal government cannot do it alone. It's just like a father that has about 10 children. And the father should be providing for the then when the children grow old, then they'll be able to be providing for the family too. They should not rely on the federal government alone. What are they doing with the allocation they're getting from the federal government? Let them generate electricity. Let them not put burden on the federal government alone. I've been saying this thing. They be fighting the federal government. NSC be fighting the federal government. All these, they will strike, they will do this, they will do that. Upon all the federal government, what have they done? Have they ever criticized the state government? Have they ever asked them or what they are doing? The citizens living in the states. Have they asked the local government? Have they even told the state government that they should remove the rope from the neck of the local government and allow the federal government to get to the local government? The state government is supposed to generate electricity. They support the federal government. They should not be sit down and be allowing people to be blamed the federal government alone. Let's be realistic. Let us be realistic. The states that have been built years ago. It's just like an old woman that will just wake up from the bed and say, okay, you should walk. It's not possible. It's not possible. The federal government is trying, but the state government should support. That's it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for that. You know, Maimuna, when it comes to the responsibility of providing things for Nigeria, it trickles down federal government, state government, local government as well. But then, and as of at this particular moment, the states are able to, you know, generate, transmit, and distribute their own electricity in accordance to the Electricity Act of 2023. Absolutely. And with that, they have the capabilities to have, you know, independent power generation and distribution, and it is just a few states that have started that initiative. We have states like Niger, Rivers, Kogi State, you know, Abia, Delta, Edo, Lagos, as well as Ondo, Akwa Ibom, and Taraba State.
We have Abasinkong on the line.
All right,
hello,
so
good morning.
Take our next caller. Hello, good morning, Abasinkong.
Good morning, Trustee. Good morning, lovely ladies. Good morning, good public.
All right.
Good morning, board and management of Trustees. I'm calling from Woodbury.
Good morning.
I would like to align my comments based on what Speaker 2 and Speaker 4 have said so far. Sincerely speaking, we keep on calling God, 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 God. God can never come down to save us. We must fight for ourselves. Yes, that's the basic fact. Yes, accountability. It is because they've not been punishing people who are strategically holding on to specific offices. If any department fails, like the security department, if they fail, they don't punish them. Any department that fails are not being punished. That is why we are having problems. That is why we are seriously having problems. This spark is a spark for concern. This spark for concern, there must be transparency. Look at what Nigeria is facing is what Cuba is facing. They have constantly power breakdown. Look at Ethiopia. Nigerian population, we are better than them. Monetary-wise, we are better than them. But look at everything Ethiopia has been doing has been unique. Ethiopia Airlines is #1 in Africa. Their dam is the highest so far in the whole Africa. Look at their road network, is one of the best. Look at the administration, their presidency. They are doing no corruption there. I'm telling you the truth. I monitor them seriously. Then when you talk about maintenance culture, go to Akwa Ibom State where I come from. Look at the international airport there. Look at the national stadium. Look at the deep sea that they are trying. Before then, the successive governors have been doing something. What are the governors? The governors, they are all chased, rogues. What are they between? They must be probed. They must be held accountable. I'm telling you the truth. They are squandering the money, traveling overseas, putting the money in banks, several banks. If you go to Saudi Arabia now, you see their money there. If you go to World Bank, you see their money there. And they will die and leave this money. And their children will waste this money. What kind of nonsense thing is this? In this 21st century, we cannot have light. Just like where this number 4 speaker says, he operates on generator. And he's scared of operating generator. I have generator. I don't use it. But I went and spent money for solar. Solar, I bought 500,000. Now it's almost 1.5. What kind of country is this? Must we continue to devalue our Nigerians into subject them to unnecessary poverty? Kappa. When you talk of education, zero. You talk of health, zero. Kappa. Security, zero. We must rise to the occasion. There must be checks and balances. We must do checks and balances. A lot of things are going wrong and they don't want to do. My sister, there must be scrutiny in our armed forces. Flush those ones that are not performing. In the health sector, flush them. In NEPA, flush them. Every sector that is not functioning, flush them. Thank you this morning. Oh, God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Abbas Kong, for that. We'll be looking at a couple of WhatsApp messages that we have this morning. For this morning, we have one from Edward Okumoyo from Ivioke, Edo State. All right, let's take one from Nandi Ebeche from Okuja. It said, on the frequent collapse of national grid, for many Nigerians, this frequent news of grid collapse is like moonlight tales from the blues. They know nothing about public electricity supply. Having said that, it appears we have become a terribly shameless people. Billions of naira are invested periodically in public facilities, yet these entities never ever function effectively. Outside the shores of this country, being a Nigerian has become an albatross, an embarrassment too scathing to bear. It is saddening. With all the abundant water resources, generation of hydroelectricity has remained a mirage. When shall we see an end to this unfortunate episodes of failure of a national grid? Thank you very much, Nandi Bate, for your contribution.
All right, we have another message, and it says, good morning. The national grid will keep collapsing since the villa installed solar. The federal government can do it. If left in the hands of the state government, many state governments will only embezzle the funds. What's the out of the allocation? Okay, thank you for sending in your message this morning. Please, while sending in your message, kindly state your name and where you're sending your message from. Thank you too. And I think we still have more messages. Hauwa, do we?
All right, we have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. What is your name and where you're calling from?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Can you please turn? All right, can you please turn off your television set so that we can hear you clearly? All right, go ahead. What is your name and where you're calling from?
I think
I believe we lost that caller. Make sure you call us in. But before you call in, take down
we have
the
another
name
caller on
of
the
your
line. Hello, good
television set.
morning.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Yes,
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Abraham, calling from Edo State.
All right, go ahead, Abraham.
I just want to make a short statement. I normally listen to the news morning. Sometimes I'm tired of listening to the news because of what is happening in our country. This collapse of bridge. So, and many times, somebody was talking of Ethiopia. I say no human being like us. We are also human beings. I'm not happy. Yesterday, a neighbor man came to give me bill. 30,000. What am I using in my house? After that, keep that. When we say God bless Nigeria, I'm in Nigeria. We are all like that. Let's say God bless those who are good. Not Nigeria. Those who are good. They are those God will bless in Nigeria. Okay, somebody was saying we are blaming the government. Why are they there to compete to become the leader? Is he not there to do something? If you know you cannot do, you go and sit down, let somebody else who can do have clean mind to do, not only to carry money to go and begin to build out in our brother savings to stupid. That is not, it's not good. And why we are suffering, that's what I'm not so happy what is happening. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for your contribution. All right, and with that, we've come to the end of our phone in the segment.